Hey guys, I have a 20-minute rolling routine for you here. There's 9 exercises. It's a full body movement and it's a great way to just counteract the aches and pains of everyday life and exercise. I'll cue you as we go, but it's about 50 seconds on and 10 seconds of transition. And it ends up being about a 20-minute roll. You can do this 1 to 3 times a week. I find personally for me, I'm better off doing shorter bouts than trying to get like an hour in because it's easier for me to hit it just a few times a week. So my timer is set and we're gonna start out with the quad. Starting out on my left side, gonna start with the roller right at the base of my femur and then coming down and then rolling up for 2, down for 1, up for 2, and just continuing that motion up the belly of the quad. For this one specifically, we're just doing the center part of the quad, but you can explore a little bit and go from the inside or the outside slightly. If you hit any spots that are extra tender, you can just hang out there and kind of melt into the muscle. And then trying to get all the way up towards the top of the femur, the thigh muscle, into the hip flexor area. Just constantly breathing through, trying to relax your body as much as possible. Keep the quad muscle relaxed. Got about 10 seconds left. And then we'll switch to the other side. So anytime you're rolling, you really want to make sure that you have a distraction-free zone, that you can relax, that you can breathe. And it shouldn't be excruciating. Even some of the more tender spots like the IT band, potentially, you want to use your body to help lift your weight off of the roller, and so you can control the amount of pressure that's on the muscle. You should be able to breathe and relax in, and it does get better and easier with time. If you're overly tense, the muscle can't release, and then the roller can't do its job. And then we're gonna move on to the next body part, which is the IT band. So I'm gonna start back on my left side, take the roller to the top of the hip, take the right leg over the top of the left, and then I'm gonna work my way down. So kind of getting in here, getting comfortable, making sure that I'm perpendicular to my body, and then just rolling down. Same sweeping motion for this body part. It's down for 2, up for 1, and really taking your time so that you can feel that whole quad thigh muscle group relax and melt in. A lot of times, especially with the IT band, I have to lift most of the body weight off my leg in order to get the best depth into the muscle. Got about 10 seconds left, and I'm just working my way down to the base of the femur, but not getting into the knee joint. So don't get too low, too close to the knee joint. Then we'll switch to the other side. So this 50 seconds on, 10 seconds off is kind of quick. If you have the time, you can always spend even an extra 20 to 30 seconds, does make a big difference. I just wanted to do something quick that was easy for you guys to follow. Coming back up to just one spot on that mid IT for me that's always really tight on my right side. I'm gonna roll slightly backwards and then switch to the next muscle group. So next up is the gluteus max and gluteus minimus. Starting on my left side, having a seat on the center of that roller. Take my left ankle across my right knee and leaning into my left hip pocket area of my left glute. So there's a couple ways to do this. This is the classic way, by creating a little extension through your glutes, so that you're stretching the muscles out a little bit so that you can get a little deeper into the gluteal part of the body. Sometimes your left side or right side is way more tense than your other side. And then also, if you're sore from a leg workout, sometimes this can be pretty intense. You can also come down and just get a little higher up into that glute. And then we'll switch to the other side. So, right side, back hip pocket, right ankle across the left knee, and then working your way, big sweeping motions. This is less of the up, two, down, one, and more just kind of exploring the area and finding the spots that seem pretty achy or ouchy. Anytime I'm coaching a rolling session with clients, I can tell when they're not really feeling it, because when they hit that good spot, usually their eyebrows fly up their forehead, and sometimes they kind of go, ooh. So don't be afraid to kind of explore it a little bit. If you don't get it, take your time, and just keep experimenting and seeing what feels like it's benefiting you in the long run. Rolling is a great way to just check in with your body and see what it's trying to tell you. Sometimes we really have a hard time listening to our body, especially when it comes to aches and pains. So we're gonna switch to a new body part, and we've got the gluteal fold. So coming into the top of the hamstring where it meets the butt cheek, sitting up nice and tall. I've just got my right leg off to the back, and then I'm just gonna roll so that my backside of my pelvis, or my backside, is off just slightly. And you can feel immediately when you sort of lift off that shelf and move into the top of the hamstring muscle, you automatically get quite a bit deeper. And then you can just do a little roll from left to right. If you feel like you need to, you can come into the hamstring, but sometimes I feel like the benefit is really up in the higher part. You can work on flexing that left ankle just a little bit, lifting that toe, getting a little deeper, driving that knee into the floor just a little bit. And then just continuing to do kind of a scrubbing motion. We're just trying to hit those hamstring tendons and the attachment points of all those big muscles in the back side of the body. And then I'll switch to the opposite side. So from here, come in, right hamstring, sitting up nice and tall. If your knee is not happy in this position, you can 100% come here. As well as if it's hard for you to be on the floor comfortably, you can always do this on a raised platform, whether it's a couple of plyo boxes, even a firmer mattress, or if there's a couch that's big enough to make it work. And I've even done this with some of my elderly clients with a tennis ball or a pinky ball on a chair. That also can be helpful. So I'm just scrubbing the upper part of that right hamstring. Just kind of trying to hear what my body's trying to tell me as far as what's tight. A little rotation through my upper body. All right, so next one is on the left side again. We're gonna do the adductors, and I gotta come this way. Vastus muscles. So as a cyclist, this is the worst one for me. Coming onto the inside of the knee, just above the knee joint, in that muscle that's on the inside of the top of the thigh, and then just working my way upward, once again in that sweeping motion. Up for one, down for two. Continuing up towards the groin. Once again, just trying to melt as much as possible. Release into that roller. Let it do its job. You want to try to get as high in as comfortable. And then we'll switch to the opposite side. Rolling is definitely an art. The first time you do it, the first couple times you do it, sometimes it can feel very awkward and painful. But what I would recommend is just sticking with it. If you're new to it, if there's certain ones you have never done before, so much of it is finding your position on the roller in a way that is productive and beneficial and not horribly excruciating. This can also be done as a great warm-up for your workouts. You can do it before or after or stand alone. It just gets the blood flowing through the fascia, gets some of it unstuck. And you also want to make sure that you're very well hydrated when you're trying to roll and after. All right, next one, number 6, is the quadratus lumborum. So these are the muscles in the lumbar part of the back. This one can have a tendency to feel really good when you're doing it, and then you might find some back pain afterwards. If that's the case, then I would start very conservatively, especially if you have a tendency towards back pain. So I'm not rolling on my spine. I'm rolling in the area of my inner organs and the muscles that support that. There's a sheath of muscles that come up the back. And for me, this one has a tendency to not be, it's a fine line between beneficial and making my low back hurt the next day. So I usually have a tendency to just kind of take my time with this one, don't get too deep, and just try to feel it out, feel what my muscles are doing. This is definitely a place where I hold a lot of tension. Sometimes I'll also get a back adjustment, just a little pop in my upper or lower back when I do this, which is totally normal. Okay, so I'm gonna do the right side next, but I'm going to rotate my body around so that you can see. So I'm hitting from here over, and my body is towards the inside of that roller, supporting my head. This one is a combination of sweeping motions and just kind of all over, whatever feels good. Sometimes I'll also just sit my hips down on the floor and just hang out in one spot. All right, next up is the calves. So coming onto my left calf first. If you like, you can put a little extra weight on this leg to make it a little more intense. My calves are sore, so I'm not gonna do that today. So you've got your soleus and your gastrocnemius are the two muscles in the calf. And sometimes, depending on like time of year, if you change your shoes, if you wear a lot of high heels, one might be much tighter than the other. There's a tendency to roll the muscle when you do this, and so we want to try to avoid that as possible. You don't want to shove those muscles around too much. If you find a spot that's rolling, just try to lay on it for a moment and see if you can get it to release a little. Maybe a little slight flexion of the foot, and then just working your way up. Continuing that left to right motion. We're getting all the way from the outside of the calf deep to the inside, and then we're going all the way up to almost the back side of the knee to the top of the calf muscle. Sometimes I do find some benefit from that little scrubbing motion on here as well. Although for me, that's usually the upper part of the calf and not the lower part where I have more tension. I'm gonna switch to the opposite side. So other fun fact about the calf muscle, your big toe, the muscle that attaches to your big toe and helps with the dexterity of the big toe, attaches all the way up here on your calf. It runs, that muscle's also responsible for big toe movement. And so sometimes too, if you're having foot pain, a lot of times addressing your calves first can help. And then also you can always add on, I don't have it on here today, but even hitting with a pinky ball or a golf ball or some other kind of smaller hard ball, just rolling around the bottoms of your feet. Calves, shins, and bottoms of the feet are great rolling for plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendonitis. All right, we are gonna move into the upper body again. We're gonna do the upper abs, and I'm starting on the left side. So I like to have this at a bit of an angle when I come in, and sort of half of it dissects the midpoint of my body. So coming down, and then just finding a place where I can get kind of deep in there. This one is going to help stimulate your digestive system as well, so you do want to be careful. You want to make sure that you're well hydrated, but sometimes this can stimulate a bathroom session within a couple hours before, especially if it's the first time you've done it. So it's a great way to counteract constipation. This one is just about finding maybe anything that's bound up, and anything really from the base of your torso all the way up into the bottom of your rib cage is a great place to hit. You can also roll out slightly and hit the lower part of your rib cage if that feels good as well. And then I'll switch to the other side. I never really know where my feet are gonna go with this. It depends on what shoes I'm wearing, if I'm wearing shoes, what the floor is like, and just kind of how I'm feeling that day. I'm gonna spend a little more time on the outside of this one. Just so that you can see. Last one of the bunch is the pectorals. So we're gonna take this at an angle and we're gonna hit the spot from basically like 9 to 12 o'clock on my pec into my shoulder area. So I kind of bring my elbow out, try to relax my head as much as possible. And I usually start out with a little scrubbing. This is gonna help the top of your biceps muscle attachment, your pec, and then sometimes I'll roll down inward just a little bit and then spend some time just trying to get that shoulder blade pressed out my back. It's a great one to relieve tension in the neck and the shoulders, and then obviously the chest and the biceps as well. Sometimes I'll also take it to the back side of my teres muscle and hit, had a little roll there. Hit that back side of my shoulder to try and counteract any of those shoulder impingements I might have. All right, I'm gonna switch to the other side. So finding a way to get some depth into that pectoral muscle, into the shoulder and the top of the biceps attachment. And after I've spent some time there, just rolling onto my backside, onto that teres muscle. It's like the backside of your armpit, supporting my head. Ooh, and rotating that shoulder blade. And that's it. That's 9 muscle groups or body parts. Like I said, if you want to extend your timer a little longer, that's great. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Have a great day.